All right, let's talk about Democratic frontrunner Biden and his running mate, who may become a far bigger issue in 2024 than many are focusing on today. And the reality is that Vice President Kamala Harris seems to be becoming more unpopular. 49% of Americans view her negatively, according to an NBC News poll. Just 32% look at her positively. It's a negative 17% spread. It's the lowest for a vice president in the history of the poll, which started in '95. But it seems to me that Democrats are hoping to kind of wish away the issue. Let's check in again with Morgan Harper, an attorney and former progressive candidate for U.S. Senate in Ohio, Joe Pinion, former Republican U.S. Senate candidate who ran against Senator Chuck Schumer, and Nick Gillespie. He's the editor-at-large of libertarian magazine Reason. Nick, what do you make of this? Do you think that Democrats are just kind of hoping this won't be an issue?
Oh, God, yeah. And, I mean, we were talking about the old HBO show Veep, which conjured this. I mean, Kamala Harris is so bad at everything, it's kind of stunning. But I think the Democrats have a real problem here because Biden is also very unpopular. He's at like around in the low 40s, approval rating the same that Trump had at this point in his presidency. And Biden is old and infirm, is one faceplant away, from needing to be replaced. It's a big problem, and I think it's hurting the Democratic Party going into.
But you even mentioned this, Morgan, and again, talk about people reacting. People go. I mean, I got attacked so much for suggesting, I don't know, it was 3 months ago, that whenever it was possible, that Democrats rethink their VP candidate if they want to win. And again, they may not want to win, they may not care, but if they wanted to win, that they might rethink it. You're a racist, you're a misogynist, you're all these things because I suggested that issue, and I'm just focusing on it based on the polls.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad take because of those reasons. I think it's a bad take because, look, what's that phrase? You dance with the one who brought you?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris helped Joe Biden get to the White House, and now you need to make it work. And so I think that's what they're doing. Is she unpopular? Yes. Are most politicians in this day and age unpopular? Yes. But what they are doing is they're having her appear at these key constituencies. The Juneteenth event that they had at the White House, she's front and center. She's hosting coffees for women of color at her residency. These are populations they need to turn out in big numbers to win, and that is the best way to utilize her as we go into 2020.
And she is very popular in particular areas of the Democratic Party. She's just not popular nationwide.
Well, look, I would say that Kamala Harris isn't the only black woman capable of being vice president. She's not the only woman capable of being.
Joe.
And she certainly isn't the only person of color capable of being vice president. So again, if your goal is to win, then you would deal with the fact that there is a legitimate concern that this person is a heartbeat away from a presidency that is currently occupied by a man that many people have concerns about his long-term durability. So yes, they're ignoring the Kamala Harris problem because they're ignoring the problem that most Americans have with what seems to be a aging and more feeble president, but they're also ignoring a whole host of issues. They don't want to talk about the inflation. They don't want to talk about.
Well, but that's a separate issue. Those are issues. I mean, the Democrats will sit here and tell you that Joe Biden, the policies he's pursued are very popular, and they just have to get that out.
I'll say this. I bring it up to say simply that Democrats want to effectively, across the board, say that there are no problems, that everything is fine, that there's nothing to see here. I don't think that this is any different than their strategy with any of the other issues. I think that it is based.
See, but here's the thing that I think people are not appreciating is how much of an issue she's going to become leading up to 2024. She is going to become the focus of every Republican ad, making fun of Joe Biden, talking about how old and infirm he is, and then there's going to be a big picture of President Kamala Harris, and they're going to say, "Is this what you want?" And that is going to be an effective politically tool for Republicans.
But it will be first of all, Democrats need to win based on Democrats turning out. So it will not be effective on any of the audiences they need to turn out to win to vote, in my opinion. Except
on non-moderate. I mean, you mean the rank and file Democrats?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and also people are going to be making a comparison about who's on the other side. And when we're talking about things that are unpopular among a lot of Americans and what a lot of the Republican potential nominees, including former President Trump, but a host of others are talking about, being against vaccines, not respecting the rule of law.
Well, Trump has actually spoken out in favor of vaccines. He's been getting heat from DeSantis about supporting vaccines.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm talking about the whole suite of choices on the Republican side.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.